you?
I'm on the street. I was to my friend to do my nails.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. Thanks for logging in, even though you are traveling, you're moving around. Okay, let's jump in. We will start our class. Let me see. Today is the 28th of May, and this is ACI 6. We are on chapter 9. We are still on chapter 9, part 2. Okay, chapter 9, part 2. Right. So let's begin by setting our motivation. So just get ready, get comfortable, just relax, close your eyes, and bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now just think about your life. What are the problems that you are facing? And think about how wonderful it would be if we can be free from all these problems. And we know that what we are learning in ACI 6, Dhammakata Sutra, is helping us to understand our reality and putting a crack into how we are perpetuating our suffering, putting a crack into our habitual actions that are perpetuating our suffering. And this is so precious that we are here to hear this profound teaching. And they can only happen by way of our projection. And so there's no payment for the class, and so we want to offer the mandala, the offering of a perfect world, which we will help to create. And so we will offer the mandala and follow by taking refuge. Here is the great earth, filled with the smell of the incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, four lands, wearing a jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of the Buddha, and I offer to you. And by this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in giving and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. We go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in giving and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. Go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in giving and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. And may it be so. Okay. Oh, you look pretty, Laura. Okay. Thanks for cheering me up. Okay. I need that a lot now. Okay. Let's see where our karma take us. All right. Okay. So we recall that in the previous class, ACI 9, sorry, ACI 6. Okay. Chapter 9. Okay. Let me see. Chapter 9. Okay. We start with the sutra, where Subhuti asked Lord Buddha, just a recap, asked Lord Buddha, what should we call this teaching, right? And Lord Buddha say, well, we can call it perfection of wisdom. Okay, why? As usual, we know, isn't it? You say, oh, because it doesn't exist. So we can add another word just behind that in order to help you to understand. When we say it doesn't exist, ultimately, right? Means that they don't have any ultimate existence in it, from it, independent from my projection. Okay? They don't have any true existence coming from themselves. And so we can call it perfection of wisdom. Okay? Nominally speaking, means that coming from my projection, coming from my good virtue, they can be a perfection of wisdom for me. And then we go on to learn about what is the meaning of perfection of wisdom. Okay, we go into the definition. Okay, in short, perfection of wisdom, we say, is the knowledge, right? Remember the two wings of the bird? It is the knowledge imbued by what? Bodhicitta means the wish I want to become an enlightened being, right? I want to reach Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. Okay, again, it is the knowledge imbued with this bodhicitta which perceive emptiness, two wings of the bird. Okay, so perfection of wisdom. And we also learned about, in the previous class, we learned it is a perfectionizer. Remember the upward spiral? Okay, they help each other. As we do those 5 perfections, correct? Now we collect those goodness for us to be able to understand emptiness. And the more we understand emptiness, then we can do the 5 perfections better. So they help each other. Perfectionizer. And this perfection of wisdom is spoken by Lord Buddha and many other countless Buddhas in the past. So it is a holy perfection of wisdom, isn't it? Yeah. And we learned that there are 4 types of perfection of wisdom. 4 types. 1, natural perfection of wisdom, which is not really a perfection of wisdom. It just means emptiness, right? Natural nirvana. And it's not nirvana, it's just emptiness. So we learn about that. Number 2, we learn is textual perfection of wisdom, means the text, the recording, the teaching, okay, on perfection of wisdom. Number 3 will be the path perfection of wisdom, which is the wisdom in the mind of a non-Buddha. Okay? And the result perfection of wisdom, which is the wisdom in the mind of a Buddha, means an omniscient being. And which one is the actual perfection of wisdom? We talk about that, isn't it? Right? So we say that it is number 3, the path perfection of wisdom, because that is the one which is going to bring you to the state of perfection, which is going to bring you to total enlightenment. The path perfection of wisdom is the actual perfection of wisdom. But then the homework key says number 4, right? And we also, I check for you that Geshe Michael says that the answer key is goofy, means that it's not close, correct? But you can accept number 4 if you restrict the meaning of perfection in the sense of perfected. in the sense perfected, then you can take number 4. And then we go into the next one will be Madhyamika. Very, very, very important subject. We say Madhyamika means middle way. Middle way of what? Middle way between the two extremes. Middle way. You walk on the middle path. So when you're driving, you walk on the middle path, okay? The two extreme will be, the first one will be when you think that things exist the way they appear to me, the way Laura appeared to me, okay? Independent of my projection. Oh, she's so nice, so pretty, you know, so kind, okay? On her side, from her side, yeah? Then I fall into the first extreme. Okay, so you say, no, things don't exist the way they appear. Then you say, in that case, then they don't exist at all. Then you fall into the next extreme, the other extreme. Again, I rephrase. The first extreme will be we are holding on to the belief, or we are grasping to the belief that things have some true existence from their own side. They have some natural existence from their own side. They have some ultimate existence from their own side. That is easy because the whole topic about Dhammakaya Sutra from chapter 1 until now, we keep on talking about the same thing again and again, again and again. It's trying to putting a crack into how we are holding on to things to have some self-nature from themselves, right? We always like, everything that we are, for me, it looks like the yelling boss is bad from his side. How to prove that? I get upset, okay? I get upset. So that proves that I'm holding on to things to be self-existence. I'm holding on to things to have some true existence from their own side, nothing to do with me, independent of my projection. So that is the first extreme, isn't it? I fall into the first extreme. Okay? The whole chapter about Dhammakaya Sutra talking about this one, the extreme, trying to feel, put a crack into how we are holding on to things to have some true existence. And the second extreme will be we fall into that extreme where we think that, okay, so things don't exist the way they appear. Then they don't exist at all. They don't exist. Yeah, they're just my projection. They are not real. Things are empty. Nothing matters. I can do what I want. So we fall into the second extreme. Okay, so those two extremes that J. Tsongkhapa say, if we fall to the extreme, we fall off the cliff. And if we fall off the cliff, you have wasted your life. You have wasted your life. Not only this lifetime, many lifetimes, many lifetimes to come. We call it spiritual death. Very serious, very, very serious. And you will suffer. Why they say suffer? In the sense that for me, it's easy to understand. Why am I perpetuating the suffering in my life? Because of how I believe, right? My mistaken view that things are coming at me, right? My mistaken view that things have some existence from their own side, the first extreme. And that caused me to collect karma, right? To react badly and collect karma, collect bad karma. So we can see that quite easily why the first extreme, if we fall to the extreme, we will suffer because we will perpetuate our suffering due to our mistaken perception that things have some nature from their own side. And so I want to react badly. And as I react badly, my natural reaction will cause me to collect the bad karma, and that perpetuate my suffering. Okay, so the two cliff. Then how to prevent the two cliff? The two cliff is very important. You have to memorize that now. Okay. Have you memorized that? Please memorize that. It's very important. Okay. You remember, you understand, never mind. Just try to memorize. There will come a day that you just understand. Okay. What are the two extreme? The first one will be things exist the way they appear to me. Things exist the way I think. Things appear the way they look, the way they seem to be. They all come to the same, mean the same thing. And the next extreme will be, if things don't exist the way I think, if things don't exist the way they appear, then they don't exist at all. Okay, so the two extreme you have to memorize, okay? And then think about that. Actually, it's quite easy because the first extreme is the whole Diamond Cutter Sutra is trying to talk about the same thing again and again, for the first extreme. And that leads us to question number 4. How to prevent that, right? We want to prevent that, isn't it? So James Tsongkhapa, in his 3-principle path, show us how we can prevent these two extremes. How to prevent. The first one is understanding dependent origination. Very easy. Two sides of the coin. If you understand these two sides of the coin, how everything exists. Okay, if you truly understand that, then we can prevent the two extremes. The first one will be understand dependent origination, or in Chinese word 缘起. Yeah. Okay, so, and later I'll talk about emptiness, the two sides of the coin, right? So the first one, if we understand dependent origination, what does dependent origination means first? Means that things exist on their own. No, okay. Things exist in dependence upon other factors. What are the other factors? What are the other factors? And that brings us to the 3 schools. Okay, so the first one we talk about is the functionalist school. Okay, the functionalist school, Abhidhamma, the logic school, and my only school under functionalist. So for them, how things exist? Things exist in dependence upon their causes and conditions. Okay. Things exist independent upon their causes and conditions. So things cannot exist without causes and conditions, in another word, okay? So things exist, they must have their causes and conditions. The second one is called independent school, or we can call it the 50-50 school, or we can call it the lower middle way, or Swatantrika. Nothing to do with tantric, Swatantrika school. Same name. The 50-50 school, I like to call it 50-50, easier to understand. So how things exist for this school would be 50%, interdependent, correct. 50% depends on me perceiving it, and 50% they appear to me. In short, 50% come from me, 50% come from the thing outside. Okay, so things exist in dependence upon their parts. 50% from my part, 50% from outside the parts. Number 3, we call it the consequence school, or the implication school, or the higher middle way, or the prasangika school. Things exist in dependence upon my projection, correct? My projection or my labeling. Okay, my projection on some reasonable basis. Okay, so that is easy, isn't it? If things, regardless of which school, so long when they exist, they cannot exist alone because they depend on other factors, whether functionalist school or independent school or the consequence school, right? the factors depend. This one will be cause and condition. This one will be the parts. This one will be my projection, right? So if things exist in dependence upon other factors, obviously they cannot stand alone, right? They cannot have any true existence. Right, so that is easy, isn't it? If we understand that, we won't fall into the first extreme. That is easy to connect the dot. Okay, again, the first extreme will be we think that the things have some true existence. They have some existence from their own side. They have some nature from their own side. Okay, and understanding the dependent origination will prevent us from falling into the first extreme, because now we know that they depend on other factors. Then definitely they cannot have any true existence from their own side. Okay, so I stopped there last week. So I'm going to continue. So the second extreme will be the solution for the second extreme, understanding emptiness. Remember I said there are two sides of the coin, right? J. Songkapa say, understanding dependent origination will help us not to fall into the first extreme. Understanding emptiness will help us not to fall into the second extreme. Understanding emptiness. What is emptiness? We say emptiness means that they're empty of not coming from me. Emptiness doesn't mean there's nothing at all, okay? Emptiness means that when I say the understanding emptiness means that things, when we say things are empty, the emptiness of things means that the things are empty of not coming from me. Remember, I keep on emphasizing the not. Empty of not coming from me. When I say not coming from me, what is the word that comes to your mind? What is the thing? Gacha, okay? The non-existent thing. Correct or not? If it is not coming from me, it's the gacha, okay? So that thing never exists. That thing never exists. So understanding of emptiness can help you not to fall into the second extreme. What is the second extreme? They say nothing exists. Correct or not? The second extreme, they don't exist. Nothing matters. Right? So when you understand emptiness, we say emptiness, empty of not coming from me. The not coming from me is a non-existent thing. It's a gacha. The thing never exists. Non-existent thing. So empty of this one. Empty of this non-existent thing. the one. Okay, I need to make a very big so that you can get it. The one never exists. So empty of this one, the non-existent thing. So if you understand emptiness, obviously you won't fall into the second extreme. The second extreme, you think that nothing exists. Okay, I give you 1 minute to cook while I check on my computer, see whether it is still alive or not.
Okay. Is everything good? No echo? Good. Can you type one in the chat? If everything is okay, please type one in the chat. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so I can continue. So is there any part that you don't understand that you want me to explain? Okay, let me finish off a little bit more first. If you have any question, hold on. Okay, so I mentioned about J. Tsongkhapa explained that there are two ways that we can stop ourselves from falling into the two extreme. One is understanding of the dependent origination, and one is understanding of the emptiness. They're like the two sides of the coin, right? So understanding dependent origination will prevent us from falling into the first extreme. Understanding of emptiness will prevent us from falling into the second extreme. Okay, you don't have the slide just now. If you have the slide, I think it will be so much easier for you. Okay, but we have learned this before, but for those who have not, the slide will help a lot. So I won't talk about the school anymore. So if you have any question, you can ask, probably after you cook, you can ask again. And we go into the next section where Pabongka Rinpoche says that there are, if you understand the two do's and the two don'ts, then you won't fall into the two extreme. Okay, this is also another way to help us not to fall into the two extreme. They call it the fourfold distinction. Fourfold distinction. Okay, Pabongka Rinpoche. This is from Pabongka Rinpoche. The earlier one is from J. Tsongkhapa. Okay, they give us this solution. Okay, so Pabongka Rinpoche, the two do's and the two don't. Okay, first, the two do's and the two don't. Okay, I put it here for you so that easier. Okay, nothing exists naturally. This is the first one. Nothing exists naturally. What do you mean by naturally? Means that they don't have any true existence. Like what we say, the whole Dhammakaya Sutra is talking about this. How we are grasping to things to have some ultimate existence. They all mean the same thing. We are holding on to things to have some nature from their own side. We are holding on to things to have some true existence. We are holding on to things to exist naturally, to exist truly. They all mean the same. Okay? So nothing exists naturally. That's the first one. Number two, but that doesn't mean that nothing exists at all. That is the second one. The third one will be everything exists by convention. What do you mean by convention? By convention, mean by our nominally in name, by our projection. Okay, everything exists by convention, by projection, in name, nominally. Nominally, it all means the same. That's the third one. The fourth one be, but doesn't mean that everything exists naturally. So they call it the fourfold distinction. Okay, so we are going to zoom in into the first one. Nothing exists naturally. Yeah, we know from the whole Dhammakaya Sutra, from chapter 1 until chapter 9, we keep on talking the same thing, isn't it? Nothing exists naturally. Nothing have any ultimate existence. Nothing exists truly. Nothing exists the way they appear. But doesn't mean that nothing exists at all. That's the second one. So let's take a guess. The first one, nothing exists naturally. will help us or prevent us from falling into which extreme? Want to guess? One or two? Nothing exists naturally. Prevent us from falling into nothing exists naturally. Means they don't have any ultimate existence. They don't have any true existence that prevent us from falling into the first extreme. Yeah, everybody got it correct. Yay. Okay. And then, but doesn't mean that nothing exists at all. And so this one will be, wait, nah, they prevent us from falling into right. They prevent us from falling into the second extreme. What is the second extreme? Nothing exists at all. So if nothing exists the way it appears to me, they don't exist at all. Nothing matters. Everything is just illusion. They are not real. I can do what I want. Okay, so that is the second one. Prevent us from falling into the second one. Okay, next one, number 3. Everything exists by convention. Convention means by our projection. Everything exists in name only. Everything exists nominally. So what do you think? Everything exists by projection. Which one do you think they help us to prevent us from falling into which extreme? Actually, both, 1 and 2. Okay, think about that, 1 and 2. Okay, everything exists merely by our projection. Okay, when you see something the way they appear, no, it's by our projection. And say, oh, nothing exists. No, it's not that nothing exists. It's by our projection. So 1 and 2. They prevent us from falling into 1 and 2. And the next one will be, but doesn't mean that everything exists naturally. But doesn't mean that everything exists naturally. These will be prevent us from falling into right. Okay, the first one. Okay, but doesn't mean that everything exists naturally. Okay, so these are the 4 full distinction that Pabongka Rinpoche gave us to help us so that we don't fall into the 2 extremes. And that wraps up our class for chapter 9. And this is your meditation. Imagine what it would be like to fall into the 2 extremes. That is easy. The first one, doing it every day, every now and then, okay? Okay. The moment you're not mindful enough, you fall into the first extreme. Then the second one you can imagine a bit lah. I don't know how yeah, it's difficult. I didn't think we I don't know. Like for me, I don't think how can we think that nothing exists at all, isn't it? So you can try to imagine what it would be like, you know. I think if I were to fall into the extreme, then it's true. Then I can do what I want. I just don't care. Okay, that we stop for a while. Okay, so we finish this chapter 9. We'll take 1 minute break before we go into chapter 10. We can stop the recording now.